Hello everyone, Benjamin back in here for another quick video. I don't do a whole lot of these, but often when I feel like I really have something to say, like I want to say, that's kind of when I do them. Otherwise, I just kind of staying away. I deleted my Instagram for now. I don't go on Facebook or anything right now. Just kind of steering clear, kind of social media as best I can for now. I wanted to talk about something that happened yesterday, something that I partook in, that I was a part of, that was very awesome. It was very incredible, very helpful, and also my son got to do it with me. I have been for a few months now, hope everybody got your morning coffee. For a few months now, I've been going to Greek Orthodox Church. And because I need it more than most people, I suppose. I think I could say, along with the Apostle Paul, that I'm the chief of sinners. I'm the chief of sinners, right? And so in the attempt to, this is actually very common post-divorce for a lot of guys, I've heard this, you have about a 2-year, kind of like a tailspin. You know, you just kind of, things just kind of seemingly kind of spirals down. Maybe not in terms of like loss, losing a job or something like this, although some do. Some people turn to the bottle after divorce, whatever, and you can really just nosedive your life after divorce. But I think for me, it's been different. But I'm just trying to keep things steady. That's why I stay at the job that I'm at for the working hours, so that I can have a steady, stable relationship with my son, parenting time, right? But on another note, you know, and I've been vocal about this for years now. In a lot of ways, being the kind of a bastard child of the church, as it were, and kind of the prodigal son. But I'm aware that perhaps I'm a prodigal son. I'm aware of it, and slowly inching day by day, as it were, my way back to God, because I know that He's patient, and I know that He's kind, and I know that He's merciful, and I know that He's good. And so taking my time, as it were, dabbling and redabbling and coming back and visiting again things of faith, right? And I found myself in an Orthodox church through some friends that have been going there for some years now. In fact, I would say the only friend really that has kind of stuck with me through the divorce. Guys, it's going to blow your mind. And I wasn't heavily involved in church when the divorce started. I was kind of taking a back seat. You know, I spent so many years in church and working at a church and trying to save the world for Jesus, that I really just kind of burnt out and kind of just stepped back, as it were, from like trying to save the world, all this stuff, right? And I've been really church hesitant, really church avoidant for some time, and for good reason. And I understand it better now, post-divorce, actually. Why? And I understand why men are just bailing out of church, like astronomical rates. Men are done with so many things: work, relationships, jobs, church. Men are out. And I think it's for a really good reason, actually, that I don't have time to go into here. Take me out for a beer or a cup of coffee, though, and I'll tell you. The short of it is, this particular family has been inviting me to come to church for some time. Avoiding. I don't want to go. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to hear anything. I'm okay, right? I'm lone wolfing it, and I'm fine. Anyway, I started going a couple months ago, and I'll go for a few weeks and then I won't go for a week or two, and I'll go and I won't go. And part of that's because of guilt. I think that I'm going to say, just from and it's probably me doing it to myself, but Protestant church background, I feel guilty all the time for everything. I'm always guilty of everything all the time. So I've just kind of been like, look, I'm not into this. I don't want to do this anymore. And not that it's not God doing it, but perhaps it's the model or the vehicle of church that I've been a part of. Thankfully, I have to say the Vineyard Church does very well in being gracious, very gracious. I have to say that's probably the redeeming quality of the type of church that I'm out of, the Vineyard Church, is that there's very much grace and mercy there, especially for bastard prodigal children like myself. Anyway, switch gears, talk about what happened yesterday. Right now is Lent. Now, I've never given really Lent much thought. Even though I've been in the church a long time, you have these things like you try to give up something for Lent, which I've known, and that's like churches, Christian churches, Catholic churches worldwide. You give up things for Lent to try to have a form of discipline, and so you're praying for things more, or you're searching out God more, or you're searching Scripture more, and you're leaving some things that you like. You know, usually I think for a lot of, particularly Catholics, I think you stop eating meat, right? And so you have fish is the only meat you can eat during Lent for a lot of Catholics or faith-based people. Anyway, you deny yourself something in the hopes that you're gaining something else, right? And just showing your discipline or your fealty to your faith. Now, I'm actually trying to observe Lent this year. I'm not fasting. Anyway, it doesn't matter what I'm fasting. I'm giving up something else that has become a bit of a crutch to me for Lent, in hopes that I can see right, in hopes that I can see better, in hopes that I can gain accurate perspective of myself and the situation that I'm in. Yesterday, so I believe for Catholics, last Wednesday was Ash Wednesday, and that's the start of Lent for Catholics. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this last Sunday, yesterday, is the start of Lent for Orthodox churches, Greek or Russian Orthodox. And I could be wrong on that. I'm not a professional in this. They had this amazing service that they have once a year. It's this time every year. It's this last Sunday every year. And it's called Forgiveness Sunday. And it was a beautiful little service, and my son was with me, and he was playing with the kids in the other room. And I can't explain Orthodox Church. I don't have time to go into that here. Partly because I don't understand it and I don't know. But what I've experienced there thus far has been unreal. And what's very awesome about this, and I'll have to do a video on this, and I've been saying that for a few months now, is the draw for men to go to something like Orthodox. Reformed Church, Orthodox, is drawing a lot of men, and there's really awesome, good reason for that. But at the end of this service, the Forgiveness Sunday is that you go to everybody in the church, and if anybody might see this, and if you know different, this was my first time doing it, but let me know. You start with like the clergy, like the fathers and the bishops and the elders and things like this, and you go in this line, and you grab hands with each other, and then the person will say, please forgive my sins against you. And then the other person responds, may God forgive us both. And then you kiss each other's left shoulder, and then you kiss each other's right shoulder, and you have your hands like this, like kind of clasped together, and then you each kiss the other person's hand, and you say, may God forgive us both. And then they'll say something like, good strength, I think is what they said, good strength or strength. And a couple people said to me, good strength for the journey, and I've also heard good strength for Lent, to try to get through it, because it's supposed to be a time of kind of like buffeting your body and your soul to try to gain a perspective, I suppose. Maybe a form of penance, perhaps. And you go down this line, and everybody's kissing each other, and people will tell you, please forgive me my sins against you. Forgive my sins. And then you respond, may God forgive us both. And a gentleman there who was divorced once, he's remarried now, but he told me I just thought this was very, very awesome. I wish everybody could do this. I know the majority of divorced people won't, but I wish that they could. His ex-wife, they were both Orthodox, and she divorces him. And he prayed for a few years that they could meet up at a forgiveness Sunday. And it sounds like from what he was telling me, like they haven't talked in a while. They weren't really friends anymore, these type of things. They didn't have kids together. And then on a particular forgiveness Sunday, they both happened to go to church, this particular Orthodox church. I believe they were from California. And then you go through the line, and everybody gets a chance to meet everybody, and everybody says it to each other as you go through like the procession. And they came up to each other, and he said it was like this tremendous healing point, because they bowed down in front of each other, they crossed themselves, and then they were bowing down, and then they stood up and they did like the kiss thing, and they were telling each other like, forgive my sin against you. And then they were both like, may God forgive us both. And that's what you say. And they had a big hug, a big hearty embrace, and there was like this release, from what he tells me, and like it was finally done, for him. And I think he said it was like 4 years after the divorce, and they had been praying about, or he was hoping that they could have this encounter on a forgiveness Sunday and have their embrace and then go their separate ways. And he says they have. And he's remarried now. He's got a few kids, and his life is kind of different now. But that was something that he was hoping for, and it happened. And this brought me to tears. I was watching my son. He was in front of me, and he was a little cringy at first, a little cringed out, because he doesn't know these people really well. I don't either, for that matter. And once he saw everybody was hugging and kissing and just saying, may God forgive us both, he was walking up to everybody in front of the line in front of me. And he's like, may God forgive us both. And we get to the end of the line, and then we stand in line, and then the other people keep coming past, and the procession keeps going. And he's standing one person away from me. I don't know why he wasn't standing next to me, but he's standing like one person away. And maybe there was some cute girls over there, so maybe he was standing next to the cute girls. I don't know, but anyway, and then he was like, may God forgive us both. And I'm watching him, and people are hugging him, and people are getting down on because he's a tiny little guy, People are getting down on their knees, and they're hugging my son, and they're asking for his forgiveness, and he'd say, may God forgive us both. And a friend of mine, who was a friend of my ex's, the ones who invited me to the church there, she comes around, and when she comes to me in front of me, she bows down, she lays down in front of me, and she grabs my feet, and if I remember right, I think she even kissed my feet. I was so moved, though I wasn't paying attention much, but I think she bowed down and she kissed my feet, I think, in this sign of like, I don't fully know what it meant for her, but for me, because she was a good friend of my ex's, it was really moving. And she's like, please forgive my sins against you. And we do the kissy thing on the shoulders and kiss the hands. And boy, she gave me the biggest hug. And it absolutely wrecked me. It wrecked me. Somebody that knew me before all this had happened. And you know my channel, I talk about divorce recovery and trying to get through it and trying to get through the next steps and trying to get through child court, divorce court mafia and all this stuff. It's hard, man. This stuff is hard and it's very taxing. And I think it takes years off of your life, man. And I felt seen. I know it sounds weird for a man to say that, but I felt seen. Someone understood. And boy, I was wrecked. And between that and watching my kid say, may God forgive us both to everybody, and he's hugging everybody, it was moving. And it felt, God forbid a man use the word felt. It felt like if there was any redemption at all for myself, for my situation, for the church around me, that I just see I damn near see the whole thing as a wash at this point, and that's my own issues. If there's any redemption at all for any of us, it was in that room. It was in that sanctuary. And the procession keeps going, and people are coming and hugging, and they're doing the kissing and the crossing, and people, again, I don't know any of this stuff. I've never done this before. I'm not a part of the Orthodox Church. I don't know the traditions of it. But boy, was it grounding, and I wouldn't even say stabilizing. I'd say it's destabilizing. And people are doing the cross thing, which I don't even know how to do, and they bow down and touch the ground. Some of them, not all of them. And it was just, and then I'm looking down the line at this church, all just asking forgiveness of each other, and everybody's forgiving each other. And it was incredible. And this lady gets to me, she gets in front of me. And I've only met her a few times, really nice lady. And she tells me, you're doing a great job as a father. And then she says, please forgive me, and may God forgive us both. And when she said that, boy, I was just an absolute mess. And I really had to hold myself together. And we made it through the whole thing, and everybody hugs and does and then the room just seemed lighter, seemed better. Everything seemed better. And there's really something to going to people that I didn't know these people. They haven't sinned against me necessarily. I don't know anybody at this church except for a few people. They don't owe me an apology for anything. But nevertheless, this is how the Orthodox Church starts their Lent, is through forgiving each other in the church. And afterwards, I was talking to a guy. Him and his family have been going there for quite some time. He's been Orthodox for some time now. And he says his first Forgiveness Sunday, when he went through this, he said he felt really robbed because he'd been part of a Protestant. He was a Protestant, like a lot of people there. They were Protestants. And he said, I feel so robbed that this was never a thing in church for the Protestant church. And it's like somebody somewhere purposefully dropped this out of services, part of the church calendar or whatever. And it was so healing and moving to do this once a year. It's like, why did this ever get dropped? How come this isn't a thing in Protestant churches? Anyway, and again, applying this back to like divorce recovery and things like this. You like most people going through a divorce, like these people when you go through a divorce, some people their spouse may remain friendly. They go to birthdays together, work on things together. They co-parent, and they co-parent well, and they're better friends after divorce. But for a lot of people, it's not the case. Like, you don't have to be friends with that person anymore. And nor do they want to be. And I wish that everybody, myself included, could have a forgiveness Sunday, as it were, where you get to go to that person and look, this is where the relationship's over and it's not coming back, but you can still have this a bit of a forgiveness Sunday, as it were, where you get to square off with this person that you used to love, but then also did you just immeasurable amounts of damage. And nevertheless, ask for forgiveness. And say back to the person, may God forgive us both. And this really brings back to light the fact that, again, far be it from me to preach to anybody or try to proselytize people anymore. I don't do that. I'm not trying to convert or save souls here. That was a long time ago. But I am saying, the old quote, I find it very true, especially after yesterday. All footing is level. All ground is level at the foot of the cross. All ground is level at the foot of the cross. All of it. Everybody. Always has been. And that's fantastic. I wish that everybody could forgive each other. And everybody could recognize their need for forgiveness of each other. Whether it's divorce or coworkers, who knows, right? The world would just be a better place, wouldn't it? I think that's all I'm going to say. I hope everybody can have a forgiveness Sunday, as it were. And also forgive ourselves. Of course, forgiving other people who wronged you, but then also forgiving yourself, right? For the things that didn't go right, whatever. You get what I'm saying. I can go on and on, I won't. What a beautiful thing. Everybody should go to a forgiveness Sunday in the Orthodox Church with their families and experience, I don't know, perhaps a little bit of heaven. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Springtime's coming. We got a while yet for it to get really warm, but sun's out today. It's so good. Good things are coming, y'all.